In the 90s, Playmates Toys made the deepest line of Star Trek action figures in history. My name's Keith, and I'm a collector working towards owning all 284. I've been a Trek fan for almost 35 years, and most people are sick of me talking about it. But somehow I've convinced my old friend Mike to review them with me on Look at My Star Trek Toys! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys! And today we have another fantastic episode of Look at Mike's Star Trek Toys, because we are doing the final review of the 2022 Playmates line, the first of Series 1. Can you believe we've gotten all the way through every single item in Series 1, Mike?
Just in time for them to be popping out into stores for everyone to grab for their loved ones for the holiday season. We are excited to bring these to you. This one is the final one I purchased with my own good hard-earned money because Playmates didn't send this one to us, which...
No, we didn't. They did not send any of the disco stuff.
Hopefully it's not indicative of their feelings. Oh, Keith, you know what I have? I meant to... Oh, no. You know what? I'm going to roll it here in post as we talk. You've seen it already.
Oh my God, it's so cool. What this thing that you're showing me, I don't know what it is yet.
This was me finding this figure at my local Target.
Oh, right.
So that is rolling now.
Right. I was so excited to show that to everybody. Wow. What great footage that I remember from like a week ago.
Well, basically, a viewer of the show had told me, because I couldn't find them on the shelves, and they had told me that they were being held captive against their will.
They're in the basement. They're all taped up.
Target has, behind the electronics center, has sort of a collectibles area where they have some of their more high-end collectible figures. Like that's where the Playmates Turtles meets Stranger Things figures are, which is a weird line, which is kind of cool. Have you heard about those?
I think I saw a picture, but I didn't think they were actually part of the same line. I thought they were just like
it's a real
mashup.
Thing. It's bizarre, but they have those at Target.
The crossover is always there was in G.I. Joe comic books. The comic books were supposed to take place more in the real world. Then they did a Transformers crossover. I was very offended by that.
Well, they're making all kinds of weird figures, which actually benefits us because it's content. Speaking of which, we're going to be popping something new over onto our Patreon feed, which I'm sure it'll make its way to the main channel at some point. So if you would like to join the patrons to get some bonus stuff, you can do so.
And you can join these fine folks at patreon.com/KM, including Brian Kaufman, Casey Clark, Cloudlover69, Jason Moe, Jorge Navoa, and the mysterious, and Worf's Boot Shifts, Alan Zimmerman, CRM Productions, Charles Babbage, at Grim Toys, and welcome new friend, Delusions at Noon.
Awesome handle. Really, really cool. They get to see me watch Deep Space Nine. They get a whole bunch of other goodies that keep changing month to month. AMAs, unboxing of action figures that aren't Star Trek. Which
that's right. There might be, Mike might have sent me a Michael Myers fantastic figure that I have not. Right? I have been able to resist getting my ugly little hands on and opening up. It'll show up on the Patreon feed. You can watch me open Michael Myers.
So anyway, this is the final countdown, Keith, of the Look at My Star Trek Toys 2022 Playmates edition until they release their next wave or some other stuff. But we're going to get back to your collection, and we've got some customs that people have already started doing on this line that we're going to talk about next week.
Crazy. So cool.
We'd like to thank everybody who's been joining the channel. We're close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please do so below. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Your financial support obviously is helpful, but more importantly, just getting the word out, because we like to talk to not just the void, although we're very good at that.
But we've been doing that for years. So what are we opening today, Mike?
So today, Keith, I've butchered this name so badly.
You sure have.
So many times. I think I've said Michael Buchanan. I think I've said Michelle Bachman.
Michelle Bachman. Is she a witch? What's happening?
I think I've totally screwed it up enough times, but it is, yes. Michael Burnham, who is, I guess, a character on Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, my God.
Jen was like, what's this one? And I said, couldn't tell you, honey. Couldn't tell you.
It's from Star Trek Discovery,
Yes, I
played
know.
by Sonequa Martin Green. She's the lead of Discovery. Do you know her connection to Trek lineage, Mike?
You know, Keith, I can't wait till you tell me.
She is Spock's sister.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's huge, actually.
She is Spock's stepsister.
Oh, that's very cool. Okay. Well, I didn't know that. That's a horse of a different color.
Oh, now you're all excited, huh? You're gonna have to go check out.
Because
Discovery.
I thought for sure she was going to feature prominently on the shelf next to her Saru counterpart, but I don't know. Now she might have to go next to Spock.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that if Playmates continues to do figures from this line, you're going to get a Spock from her universe, because you realize Spock is a character on Discovery.
See, now you got me one. I can only watch one show at a time, Keith. I was already. I didn't tell you this, but I was about to start Lower Decks this week because Jen's gone, so I was looking for something to watch. So I was going to start because I want to get into one of the animated shows. Do you think I start here or go to Prodigy?
I'm worried about Lower Decks for Deep Space Nine spoilers, though.
Oh, really? Should I start with Prodigy then?
I think you should start with Prodigy. Well, and of course, there's Strange New Worlds, which is a prequel to the original Star Trek.
Yeah, and I heard that was really pretty cool.
It's yes, yeah. I mean, I actually, to be totally straight with everybody, I haven't seen it yet either because I'm trying to catch up on Disco first.
All right, could you guys let us know in the comments where should Mike start in the Star Trek animated universe? Not the original animated series, that's that's a horse of a different color, but in the new trilogy, not new. You know what I'm saying? You heard the conversation. Let me know what you think I should watch. All right, let's get to it here.
Yes. All right. So Michael Burnham here in the Playmates packaging here. This is the Playmates STU, their generic STU packaging here, which you see across the pond and overseas. This is the packaging for all the figures, and there's no retro stuff.
Oh, interesting. Well, I actually love the design of this box. I think I prefer it to the classics. It's got its own visual flair. I like the cutouts. I like the simplistic nature of the design, and I really like this sort of bubble where the characters appear. It's not squared off like you'll see in a lot of the other action figure packaging. It's got this kind of circular, semicircle vibe. I'm digging it. I already can tell you I like her choking hazards. We'll get to them because at least they're. Well, it's really hard with this glare, so we should let's look at the box and then we'll open the.
Let's look at the box. Yeah. And of course, we have our painting there of Sonequa cool. Martin Green, which I think looks great. I liked all of those. Big warning for choking hazards. Safety first.
Yeah, of course. Let's, in fact, pop over to Toy Cam here and get this in.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Finally, Toy Cam. I like the white tab with the name on the side there, because if I had a whole bunch of them hanging, right? Because I have racks in the basement here with all my carded figures. And again, if you're trying to dig through them to find one quickly, that would be really helpful.
I actually could see if you had a whole bunch of them as well, it'd be cool to have them in sort of a filing cabinet. If you just kept the cards separately and if you open your packages, it'd be cool to kind of have a filing system, which is I think what they're aping here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and on the back we have once again they're listing the lines as they exist now. You've got your classic movie series. We've got our Next Gen series. And then we've got a Discovery series. Keith, I've completed one of these. I've completed my Star Trek Discovery line.
That's true. That's true. And I actually don't have any of the Disco ones in my hands. I have all the others. But you are the keeper of our Discovery collection. Oh, Mike, we're going to need a dramatic reading to check for typos.
Absolutely. I wish I had kept my reverb button up, but I didn't, which is probably best for everybody. Yeah. Star Trek Universe. Oh, I'm going to get vomitous through reading this. Actually, I'm just going to read from the box. In 2063, Earth made its first contact with an alien species, launching the planet and its inhabitants onto an interstellar stage.
Ooh.
In the next century, United Earth established a space exploration and defense service, Starfleet, and co-founded the United Federation of Planets, a benevolent organization of hundreds of worlds. The chronicles of Starfleet are collectively known as the Star Trek. As the Star Trek universe. Looks good to me.
There's no specific thing about Michael there. That's interesting.
Yeah, nor like Discovery, as a matter of fact. It's more just kind of the Star Trek universe. So we're really.
So I if you had your Saru, I wonder if it is a generic back.
Yes, the back is the same, I recall.
Is the same for both? Interesting. Okay, folks, international folks, for parents only. Don't go on the Q code. It's dirty.
What are you going to see on that?
It's filthy. Oh my goodness. For folks who have these for the Wrath of Khan, the Next Generation, is that also a generic back, or are they specific for the Next Gen and Wrath of Khan backs? Curious, because I have not seen the backside of the international ones.
All right, so I can't tell you if this is from the factory or if it's from Target, but I can tell you that this bad boy is not glued well.
No, I see that.
So this is going to be a pretty easy break-in period here, but let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit.
We get a tremendous amount of comments about how we're opening them. So do it right, Mike.
Well, unfortunately, every comment was how we do it wrong. So, I mean, guys.
Do it wrong in a new way.
There's lots of other channels we love you having here, but please, it is what it is. Also, the other thing, I'm going to switch back. I'm going to tease this as long as humanly possible.
We're going to get a comment about that.
Yeah, we sure are. I want to make this very clear. We tease and whatnot, but Keith and I are very privileged people. We're lucky to have received the toys from Playmates. If you've watched any of our reviews, you know that we're not shills because we've had some thoughts. But on top of that, we also do appreciate our ability to have these, purchase them, play them. Our privileges, we wear our privilege on our sleeves, but we did get a comment that said we should just feel like we're lucky to have them. And while that is true, why have a YouTube channel if we can't give our thoughts? So we're just trying to be transparent for the most part.
Well, no, and I think it is. I think we are very grateful to have them. Very grateful to have the toys exist in the world, to have these toys being produced. But gratitude and having a point of view on something are not mutually exclusive.
There you go. All right, so we're going in. You're getting that wonderful feeling of getting the glue off.
Yeah.
I am keeping the cards, so I'm trying to. Okay. All right. The other half is glued much better.
Okay, so they used the right amount of glue. They just spread it out.
Appropriated it incorrectly, much like our government.
Get out there. The right amount of glue.
Get out there and vote, kids.
Yes, that's right. This will drop before Election Day. So, folks, make sure you vote. Make sure you vote in your local elections. Those count very much. Don't just do the top ticket. Get all of your local folks as well. All right, let's take a look, Mike.
Right, so she's out of the box. I'm going to just go ahead and very carefully place
Good
this
job
over
getting
there.
that card. It's a pretty clean card.
All right. See, I like it because it pops it right out. Then we've got our nice little thing. We'll get out the choking hazard first and take a peek.
Okay.
Garbage.
Well, it's necessary until there's a replacement.
The phaser. You know, we had a commenter who very correctly mentioned that it's really hard to get these in the hand, and once you get them in, it's hard to get them to stay in the hand. Was that the case in the original line as well?
Yeah, no, it was. They were never particularly good at holding on to things.
Yeah, that sucks because I kind of wanted to display them with some choking hazards in their hands, but have relegated all choking hazards into a coffee mug.
As many people do. Although, to be fair, you really like getting the phasers in the hands and displaying them. You displayed an image of Kirk committing suicide as our slate for our Kirk review. So,
well, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I'm just dealing with mental health issues in my figurine displays. So it is what it is.
Wow, that went really dark really fast.
All right, so we had that. I dropped the box, Keith. I don't know what that was. That's just a phaser. So we don't know what this is called.
Looks like a communicator or a tricorder.
We're going back to the box.
Back to the box, folks. Back to the box.
Interesting here. They do not list anywhere what the choking hazards are. as they do on
Really?
every other toy. It just says, warning, choking hazards.
Just,
But it's not listed anymore. Maybe that's set to
Don't
Q
worry
code?
about what they are, just don't choke at him.
wow, interesting.
Okay, well, that's back to
All
the
right.
garbage pile. All right, so Keith is calling this a communicator, so we're going with it.
I think so. I think so. You know, I'm looking over the internets, but for those of you out there, by all means, fill us in.
Okay, it's well molded, no stickies though. But what I'm liking about this, Keith, there's no way we're gonna be able to get this to focus. But
I believe.
what is this?
Does it say something on it?
It
Is that a
does.
pad?
It says, "Good God, my eyesight."
You shouldn't review toys over 40. I think that's the answer.
So it is a sticker,
Okay.
and I absolutely cannot read it. Glasses or no, I would need a magnifying glass.
Really?
But I'm guessing it's. Does she read on the show? Because it looks like one of those like book Kindle datapad things.
She does strike me as literate.
I cannot. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's no. I can't. I literally cannot read it in person.
Right? Somebody with better eyes.
Wait, hold
write
on.
in the comments
Abby-
what that is.
Abby's Adventures in Wonderland.
Oh, okay. She does. There's an Alice in Wonderland. sort of
Alice's
theme.
Adventure, not Abby.
Abby's. Abby's Adventures in Wonderland. That's like the it's like the discount knockoff in the dollar store.
It's pretty unique. Yeah. Okay. So we're going in.
All right, seatbelt time.
Seatbelt time.
This is where everyone. I get nervous because
Everybody has an opinion.
I pulled the leg off of Khan. You got to let us see what you're doing, so we
Oh
can.
God, it's tough. All right, I'm going old school. I'm cutting,
Old
but I'm
school.
not trying not to get the paint.
All right, don't cut the paint.
No, don't cut the cheese. Don't cut the paint.
You can cut the cheese because we're virtual. We're all safe.
I believe we did it.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. All right, we don't want to decapitate anybody.
No.
Nope, we got one seatbelt left.
It's so stressful, right?
Yeah. Especially now, I know that people hate us for doing it this way, but
No, nobody really cares.
no, people love us, Keith.
I wouldn't go that far.
Guess what? At least one person
people
loves you, man.
tolerate
I
us.
love you.
Aw.
All right, here she is. We're in.
Okay, tell me your thoughts, Mike.
Well, I mean, the mold is pretty good, I have to say. Why these cameras will not focus? The mold is pretty good. The uniform is pretty detailed.
Yeah, I love those disco uniforms.
The paint seems pretty even and uniform. We've had some issues. Now, she does suffer a little bit from the Picard neck.
Oh, Picard neck. She's got, instead of thigh gap, she's got neck gap.
Yeah, she's got. You know what? I'm going to zoom
She's got
back
skull
in.
gap.
I think that will help us focus a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, she's got neck gap. She's also got undie pants, but which I like when they have the tunic stuff because it covers this kind of weirdness of this line's crotch.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty striking in that. I mean, you know, it's the GI Joe articulation, and what you gain in articulation, you lose a little bit in the weird legginess of it all.
For all the articulation too, what I also have found interesting about this line, we haven't talked much about it, is the elbow joint is not as flexy as the GI Joe, because if you can see, the uniform actually goes into the elbow joint. It extends past the joint, and so it makes it, you can't actually get a full 90 degrees without a little bit of effort. And without bending it, you'll notice that now that I did that bend, I've flexed the plastic. So
yes, you have. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, they're trying to cover the seam, but it definitely
it limits the mobility somewhat. So I will say that is a factor, because now I feel like, I mean, they're to be played with. You know, we've talked about it very often. These are toys rather than collectibles. You know what I mean? So
right.
You give a little. Now also, you'll notice the boots. I really love the disco boots on this line of figures.
Yeah.
These are a little less high heely than our boy Saru.
Well, it's different feet.
Different feet.
She's got human feet.
Yes, I totally get it. But regardless, it's cool that they still match the boot in design.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the practical version of me, like that silver along the bottom of the shoe is great, and that's going to look great for about 5 minutes before it gets all scuffed up in real life.
Well, I mean, they're not actually going out for a marathon. I will say that I cannot, for the life of me, get Saru to stand up well. Like the pose he has to strike to stand up is bizarre.
Yeah, no, he definitely needs the stand.
All right.
Oh, great. Let's take a look at the scale.
We're doing science, baby.
Oh, so scientific. Nobody has ever. We're the scienciest place ever. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Get him in his.
Okay, so she's just under 5, and he's 5 and a.
5 and a.
All right, so there is a difference in scale. It's not to scale. He is, I think, significantly taller than that. Grab Picard, because I'm curious. We were talking scale about folks with the female characters. Are they going to be in scale? Yeah, put her next to Picard. That's what I'm really curious about, and whether or not we have a scale difference there. Okay, so she is a little shorter. Okay. All right, so there are variations.
There are. In fact, I would say, now that I'm having them all lined up, you can't tell as well on camera, but interestingly, the Picard is scaled he looks slightly larger than Spock.
Yeah.
So from line to line within this Star Trek universe, like it's ever so slight, and it's not his height so much. His body, his head, everything about him is slightly bigger.
Well, and that looks like a scale issue, like in the sense that he's been the entire body has been scaled up a little bit,
slightly,
whereas
yes.
Saru, the entire thing has been scaled down a little bit. Which, I mean, he's obviously a super skinny person, but he looks really skinny in comparison. So it looks like he's just been miniaturized just a hair.
In fact, if I'm looking through, and I think we're at a point now where we can almost wager this, render this opinion. I think having them all here, I like the design, the package design of the disco figures the best, so I'm glad to hear that that's kind of the universal design. I know that people are disappointed that you don't have the option, but I like that artistic design. It's just, someone had said it early on too, it's simplistic, right? It puts the focus where the focus should be, which is the action figure that you're about to buy.
Right.
The sculpt of the Picard figure is second to none.
Yeah.
As we've seen, I mean, there's some great detailing on here, but, oh, come on, focus. There we go. But nothing compared to that. And then, but, you know, it's not line to line, because obviously we saw the Riker, was it last week?
Right.
And we weren't
Riker
in love with that.
No.
So I think the Picard, for my money, is
the best facial sculpt. Although I forgot who said it, but somebody was saying it looks like Nemesis Picard, not Next Generation Picard. And I agree with that, actually.
Now, riddle me this, Batman. Yeah. I'm imagining that the color differences on the uniforms here, that's denotes differences in rank?
Rank, that's right.
Yeah. I think, you know, so here's my, if I could create the ultimate monstrosity, I'm loving the uniform design on the disco figures.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm loving the tunic on these figures, because it gives me a little bit of flex, which gives me a feeling of immersion, but also covers that weird thigh gap situation.
Uh-huh.
And I'm loving, though I love the boots on these figures, on the disco figures, I love the material kind of sashy cutout of the pant legs of the next gen guys. Okay. So Keith, I need a bastardized. I want one with all of those things.
Do you need one? Do you need one?
No, I don't think I need anything. What a weird collection of figures I have now. With a phaser, with a phaser,
with one single phaser. Yeah, I mean it's funny looking, just focusing on Michael here. The facial sculpt. When I first saw this, I thought the facial sculpt wasn't very good. However, and this is a tease for next week. Next week, we are going to see a repaint of Michael's face, right? It's not a new sculpt. It's literally just a repaint on this exact figure, and you will be stunned by how much better it looks and how much more it looks like Sonequa Martin Green. So teasing for next week, because I think I think this figure is limited by the paint job more than much of anything else. I mean, I like it. I'm glad to see her represented. I know that like Disco is very polarizing, but I actually am really glad to see her represented, this character represented. But you're gonna spin her around.
Might as well give her a spin while we're here.
How was that? Oh no, just keep her lying down. No. I thought that's what you were gonna
No, that's
do.
gonna be weird if we do that.
I thought that's what, like, Mike, this is what you want to do.
I'm working on here. Talk for a second while I get this shot lined up.
Yeah, I mean, wow. All right, so now that we've seen all of the Playmates figures, I think if I were to rank the generations in terms of quality, I think I'd go next gen top, then Wrath of Khan, and then the Disco figures. Because I think the Disco figures are fine,
Right.
but not particularly exciting. Whereas I think the next gen figures, every one of them has little details and little flaws here. But you starting with that Picard, I think it's really excellent. I wish that the reason the Wrath of Khan are below that, I think the Spock facial sculpt isn't great, and the weird hand is a little annoying. I'd love to have a hand swap available.
Yeah.
So that's why it's in second place. But I think they're all pretty solid. And to be fair, I am judging the Disco figures over the internet here. There she is. So I don't have them in hand yet, but I've seen a lot of the figure representation pictures all over the place, and I think that they're good but not great.
I would agree with that.
So that's sort of where I'm at on that. Do you agree with those rankings in general, Mike?
I think I do. This focus is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form, but
no, but we're getting a really good window into your desktop.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
So, all right. So then I think now that we're here at the end of the Playmates line, it is time to give a grade to Series 1 of Playmates 2022.
Yeah. It's tough. Well, by the way, I wanted to mention too, the other thing we didn't mention is and I think we talked about the painting. Just like Saru, the copyright on the back is much less egregious, almost invisible on the blue here. So as far as that's concerned, if you're really hating the copyright, which most of us are, then maybe the
I think it's the color, and there's a lot more texture on her back to bury it in with the fabric texture on the back.
Yeah, that's just not working. We're gonna just go ahead and back out of that. I gave it a shot, guys. We're doing it live.
Oh, well, you can watch Mike operate OBS. There it is. Wow. Peek behind the curtains, kids.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me, Keith, because I'm excited. My wife has been kind of giving me permission and joking that she's like, "You really want to start collecting toys again, don't you?" And yes. I'm loving the Trek stuff. Yes. I don't know that. Here's the tough part, because I have an itch like you generally. Is if I get one, I kind of want all of them, and that's a little bit dangerous for me. I like some of the more one-off collectible kind of things, like I've been showing, like I sent you, are sort of maybe more what I might be collecting, because I'd rather spend a couple more bucks and have unique items. But it's hard.
That's what I thought I wanted.
Yeah,
I started there.
Yeah, but it's tough because I love having these on my shelf, and it's cool to look over and see them. I'm really enjoying unboxing them and looking at them and figuring out how I want to display them, and then putting myself on the internet playing with them. So I like it. I'm excited, and why? Okay, let me be honest. Let me come clean. One of the reasons I want to get into one of the animated shows is because I'm really looking forward to those figures, and I want to know that
figures.
I want to be in on the ground level when those figures come out and be like, yeah, I started collecting from the start, from the jump, because much less just have to catch up. If you know what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, Keith, I really like it. I like the line. I like having my first Picard. I like having my first Kirk. I like them. I prefer them, I think. The G.I. Joe type of new mold. I know it's very divisive. I know there are problems. My hope here is that they take some of the feedback. I know that they said in that interview that we read that they're not, that they're hamstrung and that they cannot make some alterations. I bet you they can, and I bet you they do. You know, we've been hearing from a lot of people in the comments also that though they've yet to really develop shelf space and a shelf brand identity, they are selling. And I can tell you that I have gone back to that Target where I got Michael Bachman here. Michelle Bachman.
Since you got Michelle Bachman.
And have noticed them being gone and then having to restock. So they're selling them. And hopefully when this next wave comes out, or now that they can kind of maybe go back to a marketing meeting and look at the numbers all together, they'll make a stronger push over the holidays. When do we get this second kind of push of these things?
I don't know. They haven't announced. I think it's 2023 before we get to Series 2 for sure.
Okay.
But I do feel
What about the Prodigy line?
The Prodigy ones, I would have thought they would be around pretty soon. I need to go look that up. But so you're equivocating. I need a letter grade.
I'm going to give a B plus.
Yeah, and I think that's what I already had in my head. Honestly, I think that they're very good. I think it's a very solid start for the 2022 line. You know, I have my little things that I compromises that they had to make. And of course, we've talked about a lot that they're operating at a $12.99, $14.99 budget, which very much means that there's going to be compromises to have a toy that's priced like a toy and not like a $50 collectible we might be talking about soon. So yeah, I mean, the only reason it's not an A for me are sort of the things that they could have done a little bit better regardless of budget, just sort of aesthetic choices. Mike, you know what I love? I love your stick-to-itiveness. I love that you're just really going to keep trying. Anyway, so yeah, it's a B plus for me too. I really like the Enterprise model. We had complaints about the phaser, but I still like it. I think the figures were very, very solid. I'm really excited for Series 2, for the second line. And the minute it gets out there, we will review it here for you. And maybe by the 2023 line that comes out, Mike will get Michelle Bachman in focus.
I can't figure it out. It's really bugging me. I'm not. The setup here was really last second, but you know what? Love. Maybe we're gonna. That seems to be in focus. So why?
We're gonna have to, Mike. We're gonna have to put your OCD in a box so we can finish the show. There you go. Perfect. Well, there's where you can really see the articulation. Love it. Perfect. I think that is a perfect way to go out, folks.
They don't all have to go on shelves.
They don't all. No, they get to live wherever they are. So if you enjoyed this for reasons, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/K&M. Spell out that and. We will see you back next week with a special episode on custom figures based on the 2022 line. They're already starting to emerge, and Mike, they're fantastic.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. We get to do that right now, so I'm
now.
Jacked, yeah.
We're literally going to do that right now, but for you, it'll be next week. So check out our other show, our Deep Space Nine review show. Check out K&M Geekly, where we talk about all things that aren't Trek. And folks, till then, this has been
Go Phils!
Look at my Star Trek
There you go.
toys.